All right, YouTube. It's been a long minute. I do apologize. Yeah, dude. Ghost of Tsushima is such a good game. Yeah, I'm still skeptical on how Ghost of Yotai is gonna be, so we'll see on that. I'm probably gonna get that some good combat. Yeah, dude. Ghost of Tsushima probably had some of the best open world, freaking like exploration, combat. Oh, I love the combat of Ghost of Tsushima. We're getting sidetracked. We're getting sidetracked here. I think Yotai's gonna be good. Yeah, I don't doubt that it's gonna be good. I'm just butthurt that they didn't continue Gene's story. That's my gripe. I wanted to see more Gene, or at least like some of the characters that had to do with, But to be fair, the game hasn't been out. The game's not out, so we don't know what the story is. So Gene could be in it. I'm just hating. It has not gone woke. Yeah, but whatchamacallit. Back to what I was saying. Yeah, my bad, guys. No, I've been absent on YouTube and haven't been posting much. But just had so much stuff going on. Started a new job. You know, fucking those hours are crazy, man. Nine to six is it's pretty tiring. But anyways, let's get into this stuff. Some of my viewers are asking me to check this out. So let's check out how India and stuff has been the last couple of years, and see what's going on with Pakistan news new achievement. Let's get right in here.
Doing today. We are focused on food delivery apps, turning unemployed youth into cheap labor. दुकानदारी का ही काम करना है हमें या भारत की
Cheap
पहचान
labor. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. Cheap labor. I feel like in my opinion, yeah, I'll turn on the captions. English. Okay. I feel like honestly, I feel like cheap labor should kind of be saved for like criminals. Like people like in jail, because it's like slavery is right here, and then like cheap labor is like right here. It's like you're barely paying them. But no, he's good. He's motivating people to work harder. Yeah, that's the thing though. Like I feel like the people who get paid, cheap labor, they tend to work the hardest, because they get usually the hardest jobs, like digging pits or, you know, like those guys that drain out all the drains in India, and they literally go down there and scoop out all the poop and shit, stuff like that. Like those jobs, dude, they should be getting paid the most, but they get paid like nothing. They literally get paid nothing. Like those are probably the people, that they're probably talking about, or even more. Like I don't know. I feel like those types of jobs should be reserved for like criminals, But then that way the criminals could still earn money, like basically trying to like get them recalibrated back into society. Like I feel like like the youth, you'd want to kind of give them better jobs, so that way they'd have more of an appetite to work.
बना है. Or are we going to be happy being delivery boys and girls?
Now, the idea behind this speech was to give a
Yeah.
reality check to Indian startups on how we are lagging behind in innovation. Most of our startups are solving basic problems like food delivery. But the bluntness with which Piyush Goyal made this speech turned it into
Okay.
a national debate.
Union Minister Piyush Goyal
Yeah, exactly. It's probably for the reasons that I just said. I could see why it's debated.
comments.
Become a big debate.
80% of the startups in India are nothing but a racket. If it has to make a meaningful contribution, it has to be innovative. Where are our innovations?
The reality check from Piyush Goyal.
Now, it's true that India is far behind China in terms of innovation. Take any important sector, EV, AI, semiconductor, or robotics. Chinese products are years ahead of India. But in my opinion, this is not a fair comparison. I mean, India and China have had very
Yeah.
different journeys. Starting from the 1990s,
And on top of that, it's like you can't even really compare India and China because like I said, China has been suckling on the teat of the United States. They've been getting all their money from us because they've had like such a monopoly on our market that every little thing comes and goes from China, and it's just like China keeps taking and taking and taking, but we're not allowed to sell shit in China either. So it's like, obviously China was able to, turn into the country that it is because they had basically the backing of America, because like they basically poured their market into us and we just bought everything. So if India did the same thing, which is what they're trying to start, doing with having all these companies go over to them, that watch India literally go up to the same level as China. And that's why China is trying to do all these like little underhanded things and trying to, fuck with India in all these little ways. Because they know that as soon as all these companies start going to India, dude, India is gonna become like an actual competitor. They're literally just gonna become it's literally like, in my opinion, it's gonna be like the United States, probably at this point India, then China, and then Russia at this point.
The Chinese authoritarian government took some strong top-down decisions, which put it on a very different growth trajectory from India. And unlike China's top-down approach, India is a bottom of society, driven by individuals, small entrepreneurs, and grass.
And that's the thing too. Like, India is getting their shit together. If they continue locking in, and they keep that pressure on, they got this, dude. India can do this. They can definitely fucking just fucking get right in there.
As a result of this, our growth is much slower than China. India spent a lot of time solving the basic needs of people. But now that is done. India is now aiming to become a developed nation in the next 25 years. And we are already...
Yeah, I would say that's like a small factor, though. I would say like the main thing is what I just said. Like the reason why China was able to skyrocket into the nation that it is now is because of their market in the United States and like across the world, because they literally had like a monopoly. Like, for instance, like look at Temu. You have something like Temu overseas in the United States, and you sell everything so cheap, and everything that's sold on Temu is basically sponsored by the Chinese government, is given to them so they could sell it at cheaper prices. So in that way, other like mom and pop shops, or like American brands, they'll start running out of business because they can't compete with China's prices. That's how all this stuff works.
To do that. We have made great progress in the last 10 years. I mean, India of 2014 looked very different from India today. And that is what I want to focus on this video. I want to talk about 7 transformative changes that have happened in India in last 10 years and how it's going to help our country in the long term. Before we start, I want to say that we are now part of Zerodha's 01 network. And now let's jump into the episode. The first thing I want to talk about is electrification. It's crazy that I have to talk about electrification in this video. I mean, it's such a basic need. But the truth is, 10 years ago, a big chunk of our population did not have access to electricity. According to this World Bank report, in 2014, around 264 million people, or 20% of India's population, did not have access to electricity. So effectively, 1/5.
This is like, I don't know, I feel like it's kind of misleading how he's saying it. Like, yeah, most of the world has access to electronics and stuff, but there's still a large, vast amount of people that don't have access to the internet or light or, access to technology, especially people that live up in the mountains, places where it's harder to put, like, antennas and stuff like that. So, I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's true, but it's not true at the same time.
Our population was living in the dark, and for the remaining people who had electricity, there were massive power cuts. At the time, an average rural...
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, just to even... Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Just to even get the telephone poles that, transfer the electricity and all that stuff. You know how hard it is to get, put that in some places? That's why a lot of places in the mountains, don't have electricity or don't have, internet or telephone communications because, getting machines up there to install everything. Oh,
household in India had only 12.5 hours of electricity daily, so no power for the half of the day. This changed dramatically after 2014,
and on top of that, just
4 years, India
energy,
achieved 100% electrification. Let me show you this picture. This is...
Said all the things he's saying is true. There are government stats published. It is hard, but America, you have 100%. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, and it's probably for the reasons that I just said, like that they don't have electricity. Like just think about it. Like, getting all the crews out there in the middle of those deserts on those trucks, making sure that they don't get stuck in all this stuff in the sand, or the mountainous parts of of India and all this stuff. It's not easy, man. Said I mean, it is being hard. It's not an excuse. India's incompetency. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I agree with you. You know, for a long time, you know, those types of governments prioritized other things that in their eyes they thought were more important than this stuff, and then you know they end up falling behind like how they are now. But this is what I'm saying. If India just locks in and they keep this mindset where you know they want to keep progressing and changing and you know keep laying down the hammer, that's good. You know, they'll
How
get
India
there
looked at night
eventually.
before 2014, and 10 years
not
later,
gonna
this
happen
is how it
overnight.
looked. A
Gotta be
crazy
patient with it, too.
transformation. And do you see
Yeah, look at this. Look at this. Oh my god. This literally looks like how Honduras looks like the last couple of times that I went there. And then now, like the most recent time that I went to Honduras, it also looks like this, like just more lit up.
something
like
very
more
interesting in
people
this
have
first
electricity.
picture? There are these clusters of bright
Like things like drones, you know, those are big innovators in technology. Like drones, like that helps you like, you know, just fly up a drone with, you know, packages with, you know, equipment up there. Up to the mountains or wherever it is that you gotta go, you know, places that make it harder for you to travel with luggage and stuff. You could just get a drone to carry everything
brightness.
for you.
And these
get
are the
to
big
work, you know,
cities
stuff
of
like
India:
that.
Delhi NCR, Ahmedabad, Mumbai Pune, Hyderabad, Bengaluru, and Kolkata. And there's a big contrast with the rest of India.
But yeah, no, I
Basically,
do agree
urban
with
India
you
had access
with what you were saying that at a certain extent it is also the incompetence of the government because you know other governments have shown that when you want to do something, you know, you could do it. Doesn't matter if there's a will,
to
there's a
most
way.
of the electricity. And this has changed to this now, when you can see how electricity is now distributed to the rest of
Yeah.
the Indian heartland as well. So how did this happen? Well, in 2015, as soon as the new government came, they launched something called Deen Dayal Upadhyay Gram Jyoti Yojana. And the idea was to bring power to every village. This was achieved by 2018. India declared
Hell
that
yeah.
100% of its villages were now electrified. And that meant basic infrastructure had
Alright,
reached
alright.
every village, but not necessarily every home. And then came the Saubhagya scheme. And now the idea was to electrify every home. Under this scheme, over
Every home,
28 million
baby.
new homes were electrified in just
Yes,
3
sir.
years. And along with this, the power supply became consistent too.
Hell yeah.
From an average power supply of 17.4 hours in 2014, it increased to 22.6 hours by 2024. More electricity allowed smaller
that's
businesses and
alright.
farmers to flourish.
It's
It
a
helped factories to run
little
for more
increase.
number of hours. And this increased the overall productivity. But most importantly, it bridged the gap that earlier existed between urban and rural India. And in a way, this was the first step in India becoming a modern economy. The next transformation I want to discuss is something that was unthinkable 10 years ago, and that was India becoming a data powerhouse. Today, India has the cheapest
data
mobile data in the
powerhouse?
world, and the amount of data consumed by an average Indian is way more than someone from the developed country. And that's not all. Even in terms of internet speed, India is among the leading countries in the world. But what if I tell you that in 2014,
this
only around
thing?
250 million people in India, or like 1 in every 5, had access to the internet? Also, the internet that we had was among the slowest in the world. Take a look at this. In 2014, average mobile data speed in India was around 1.3 Mbps. Against this, China had 3.4 Mbps, US had 6.5, and Singapore had 30 Mbps. As a result of slow speed, internet consumption in
Is that
India
the
was among the
units,
lowest in the
Mbps?
world too.
Said 100% in a decade is crazy. It's just incompetency.
Just
Yeah,
18 MB per
100%,
user per month.
100%.
Against this, China was at 126 MB and the US at 1.8 GB per user per month. This has
Some
changed
governments,
dramatically
you know,
in the
are
last
just
10
lazier
years.
than others,
Today, we
too.
have the highest data consumption and also one of the fastest internet in the world. And along with this, data prices in India today are the lowest in the world.
Oh my god, Bollywood is hilarious, yeah. Oh man, I love watching Bollywood videos when they appear on my Instagram feed. Those be the funniest thing. Like you'll just see like some guy walking and then there's like an attack helicopter and he'll just turn around and kick the helicopter.
In 2014, 1 GB of mobile
Yeah.
data was around 250 to 300
You guys are
rupees,
funny.
which today is around 10 to 15 rupees. This is a
Peak
remarkable
cinema.
transformation in just one decade, something no other country has seen. And as a result of this, today India has 971 million internet users, up from 250 million in 2014. Think about this. In this digital global economy, almost 1 billion Indians have access to high-speed internet. I mean, that's very powerful for a country. These billion internet users will work as a strong consumer base for our local businesses. Also, more people connected to the internet means that the government's welfare program can reach them smoothly. I actually want to remind you of what our
Okay.
former Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi had once said. Of every 1 rupee the government spends towards welfare and poverty alleviation, only 15
It's not even that. It's just like a matter of, you know, keeping up with the times too. You know, how are people like if there's like a natural disaster, like a flooding or, you know, you want people to have access to technology, you know, to be able to ask, you know, people for help. You know, things like that. You know, you kind of want people to stay safe out there. You know, you want people to be able to contact your local government, you know, your local authorities for help. You know, think about it. If there's like a flash flood or like a fire or something, how are these people supposed to call for help? Like, you know, they're kind of just screwed because they have no like technology or electricity. You know, this is good. If you don't have technology, how are you gonna create technology and innovate? Exactly. You need technology to create technology. You need technology for everything nowadays, dude. Even to shit. You want to go to the fucking, you know, you want to peacefully have to, you know, you want to peacefully go use the restroom and go doo-doo. Well, guess what, dude? With technology, you don't have to go to the village well anymore and get water to, you know, dump it in the toilet anymore. You could just flush the toilet and you're good. Plumbing, baby.
As they reach
That's
the
technology.
intended beneficiary. And now that the government can reach directly to the people with the help of internet, this leakage of money can be stopped. And this takes me to the next point that we are going to
Technology
discuss,
isn't
and that
always
is digital
electronics,
payments.
you know?
One of the most visible changes that has happened in India in the last 10 years is people using digital payments, and that is thanks to UPI. From the smallest T
Okay. See, you guys are accepting cryptocurrency now. All right. You guys got some fucking Bitcoin and shit. Nice.
sellers to street performers and even beggars on the street.
Hell yeah.
Everyone has a QR code and a bank account that's connected to
A
it. In
QR code
2024,
is
India
crazy.
accounted for 49% of global real-time transaction. And if you see this complete list,
Damn.
India did more transactions than the next 9 countries combined. And you know why India became so big in digital payments? Because unlike other countries where private players mainly introduced digital payments, in India the government made it a digital public good. Over the years, many notable people have praised India's digital payments journey. And now our government is helping other countries too to replicate the same success in their countries. But the question is, how did India do it in the first place? And that too in such a short span of time. Well, it started in 2014 when the government launched Jan Dhan Yojana. And under this scheme, almost 55
2014. I think I was like in high school at that time. Like, really, probably just got that like freshman.
crore new bank accounts were opened. The idea was to give a bank
Said, I haven't been to a bank or a ATM. Really? So you guys like literally just straight crypto out there? You know? So you guys just only do transactions like on the phone? I mean, like on the phone? So everything's cashless? No way. So how was like the sanitation, or does that like, are you guys like, you know, less sick and stuff most of the time, you know, because you guys don't have to hand each other money? You know, less germs being spread around. That's pretty smart. But then again, it's kind of not, because then what if all like this? What if all your guys' systems go down? Like, what if the internet goes out? That's why it's not also that smart to rely only on technology. But damn, that's pretty good. That's pretty cool though. You can literally just go to any one of these like vendors and just, you know, scan the QR code, cash app. I can't talk. Cash app them like $1. So, but I don't carry cash. Yeah, that's true too. Wait, so how are the robberies? Like, does that mean that the robberies are like low? You know, like in terms of crime, like is there less robberies now because, you know, the fact that everybody knows that nobody carries money because it's all on the internet? That's pretty smart, actually. That's actually pretty smart if you think about it.
account to every Indian. Then came UPI in 2016, which made paying through mobile very easy. It's like what companies like Alipay and Square were doing on a small scale in their countries. The Indian government did it for 1 billion people, and that too very quickly. And now that India has one of the most advanced digital payments infrastructure, it is helping us in other sectors too. To begin with, it is helping all kinds of digital businesses to collect payment instantly. Earlier, when people used to deal in cash, a big chunk of the company's resources used to be spent on handling that money. First depositing it in the bank and then
that's
waiting
true.
for days for it to reflect in your account. Now it happens in seconds in most cases. So it's fair to say that digital payments
Damn.
have pushed the formalization of our economy faster than anyone would have guessed. And the rise in
Hell
digital
yeah.
payments along with a large
people have to
internet
spend less
user
on
base
fees, right?
has helped in the explosion of number of startups and unicorns in the country. In 2014, India had
explosion.
only around 350 startups. And these startups were present in only a few big cities like Bengaluru, Mumbai and Delhi. But in the last 10 years, the number of startups has increased to 1.6 lakh, almost 450 times the growth. And a
Is it also reduce corruption massively? Oh, I didn't even think about that too. Yeah, less corruption, because everything has a trace. Everything can be traced online. You could lie to you could lie to me or you, or anybody else who uses the banks, but you can't lie to the computer. Said corrupt officials can't bribe you because all online payment info is recorded. Exactly. Yep. That's good stuff. Hell yeah. See, this is what happens when you have an honest system. And this is what I was saying before. You could tell the difference between places like, you know, Pakistan and Afghanistan and stuff like that than India. Like, you could see, like, the honesty, basically. Versus, you know, all these other shady places where they like to keep their secrets and act like shit isn't shit. Like,
Along
I
with
don't know.
this, startups are now present in
Crazy.
every corner of the country. According to Indian Success Report 2024, startups are now present in 6
Like, you could literally, basically what I'm saying is you could tell the difference between a government that enjoys corruption and basks in it versus like a, you know, a government that is actively seeking to get rid of, you know, corruption and, as a matter of fact, stop corruption at its source. You know, like quell the greed.
70 of the total 806 Indian districts. And 50% of all the
Smart.
startups
That's
are in
smart.
tier 2 and tier 3 cities. Next, let's talk about unicorns. Up until 2014, India had just 3 unicorns. And 2 of these 3 were mainly
3
targeting
unicorns.
foreign clients. So in a way, Flipkart was the only true unicorn at the time in India. And this scenario has completely changed now. Today we have over 118 unicorns. And we are only behind the US and China in this list. And most of these unicorns have become
Okay.
unicorns by serving Indian customers. The old belief that Indians don't like to pay for digital products and services is completely destroyed. Today we have startups like Mensa Brands, which
Fuck
achieve
yeah.
unicorn
Hell
status
yeah.
in
Companies don't really companies really underestimate how lazy people are. If you could just buy something online without the hassle of having to leave your house and having to talk to somebody and running into people and all this nonsense, you know, when you don't want to go out. Dude, people would rather just buy stuff online. Like, that's how I am. If I had, you know, the option to, the only thing the only thing for me is that I'm impatient. That's why I prefer to go to the store, because I'm impatient. I like my stuff now. I don't want to have to wait for stuff to come in the mail. So I feel like if shipping and like the whole process of shipping and stuff was like expedited and made faster and simpler, like, you know, you got it, it was at your house in a couple of hours, then I'd be ordering more stuff online. But for the most part, people that, you know, are patient and can wait and don't really care, which is like the majority of people, you know, they would rather just order stuff online because it's just easier. Said unicorns are $1 billion startups. Oh shit. So there's an actual word for that? Unicorns or unicrons? 3 to 107. 117 is crazy. Yeah. That's because 117 is a lucky number, dude. John 117 from Halo. You know, Halo 3, Halo 1, Halo 2, Halo 4, Halo 5. I think he was in Halo 3 ODST, cut like a Easter egg cutscene or something like that. Reach, he was in Reach 2. Oh, Halo Infinite. Damn, he was in fucking like every Halo. Yeah, I think he was like in every Halo. God, yeah, I think Master Chief is in every Halo. They're all the Halos, right? Yeah, that's crazy. I can order a PS5 and it would be delivered in 15 minutes. Yeah, that's the type of speed that I want. Because over here, if you were to order a PS5, that is taking like, depending on where you get it from, that's taking somewhere between like 2 to 3 days to like a week. Hell no, I'm impatient, dude. I want that now. I'd rather pick it up myself. So groceries in 15 minutes. Yeah, groceries, we do pretty good over here. Groceries, you know, you could order it tonight. It'll be at your house tomorrow. Or if you know, wake up early enough, like, let's say you wake up early enough, like at 7 in the morning, and you put in the order by like 8, you know, by the time they open, they could probably put in your order for the same day, you know, have it delivered. But I don't know about 15 minutes, though. That's what I'm saying. Like, if we had that speed that you guys have,
just
whew,
6 months.
I'd be ordering,
Then there is
like, everything
Zepto,
offline.
which pioneered the dark store model for
freaking
quick
lazy,
commerce,
dude.
and it's now
I'm flipping
replicated by a
lazy.
number of startups around the world. Then we have
Flippity
hardware
flip
startups
flip.
like IdeaForge, which is exporting military and industrial drones to 20
More
plus
drones.
countries.
Yeah, like I guarantee you, some of the drones that I want to yeah, my hypothesis is that some of the drones that Ukraine used to bomb all those fucking Russian planes, all those like $50 billion planes that were destroyed by all the lawnmowers from Ukraine were probably these, dude. And they were probably better quality than the Temu stuff that China and Russia.
And these are just a few examples. Today, India has some of the most cutting-edge startups in sectors like
This is probably why they're
nanotechnology,
losing the
fusion
war.
energy, space and satellites, and robotics. Now, of course, the main reason why Indian startup ecosystem has grown so much is because of the amount of funding it has received. 10 years ago, the total funding Indian startups used to raise in the entire year was around $1.5 billion. Today, we raised that much amount in just 1 month. Also, earlier global VCs did not think of India as a distinct market.
1 month is pretty good. He said that the dude who built the logistics for 15 minutes is 19 years old. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, that's what I mean. Sometimes you just need the youth because they know how to best operate stuff. Like when I worked at Amazon and I was a driver, yo, I'd be looking at the routes and I would just be thinking to myself, dude, if I was a dispatcher, shit would not be running like this. Like shit would be much more accurate. Like I would literally create an algorithm to actually have the drivers, you know, instead of fucking delivering a package, go into another stop and then have them come back to the same street. I don't know why it's like nah. I would just have it. You know, you're on the street, all the packages are on the street. Bang, 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 bang. Do it. Go to the next street. Bang, 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 bang. Go to the next street. Bang, bang, bang. Nah. The way that their algorithm works, it's like you go one stop, then you go to the next stop, and then you go like the next street. And then you come back around to the same street you were just on, then go to the house that you were just in front. Like, bro, it's such a mess. It's not even funny. Oh my goodness. Like, I completely understand why all the, like these packages they like take longer and your shit literally gets delayed. Like, I could see why because he's like, oh my god.
They used to have
This is
Asia-specific
so, like,
funds, and India was just
not
one geography
accurate.
out of it. And the
It's
simple
like
reason was we did not
discombobulated
have
and disorganized. It's a mess, dude. It's a mess. It's literally crazy. And then when you go into the warehouses to, you know, when I would go into the warehouses to get my stuff, you know, to load it into the truck the next day, half the time, like some of the times, I would literally be late to my route because the factory like fucked up on on some of my stuff and some of my packages weren't there and blah blah blah, and I had to wait for them. Oh man, dude, it was literally a freaking mess, dude. It was literally such a mess. Like I was saying before, like the routes and everything that you would take with the trucks, oh man, don't even get me started. Don't even get me
a
started.
lot of
on that.
opportunities. Today, though, most of the
Really,
leading
like,
venture
not
capital
fun,
firms
bro.
like Sequoia,
Not
Lightspeed, and Axel have India
Like I literally started getting nausea from how many times like the GPS would make you go in a freaking circle. Like,
specific funds, and the fund sizes are increasing every year. Also, as more and more VC funds get an exit either through an IPO or an acquisition, it signals to the world that India has big opportunities. For example, Tiger Global invested around $1.2 billion in Flipkart, and when
What's
Walmart
Tiger
acquired the
Global?
company, Tiger Global made a profit of around $3.5 billion.
What the hell is
Similarly,
Tiger
funds
Global?
like Sequoia and Axel have
let me
made
look it up on my
massive
tablet.
returns from the IPO of companies like Zomato, Swiggy, and Mamaearth. And these are the VCs I'm talking about. There's a wave
What is
of new
Tiger
kind of
Global?
investors that have
Is it American Venture Capital? Is that what it is? Tiger Global? American
come up
Venture
in the
Capital?
last few years called angel investors. And these are the people who are solo investors, most
Angel
of whom have made
investors.
money in India and now are giving it back to the ecosystem. People like Anupam Mittal
See that's good stuff. That's good stuff. See that's what you want in a healthy economy, you know, people that, you know, get rich off the economy and then put it back into the economy. You know, not stuff like how happens here in America where, like, for instance, people like my uncle, they'll come here, get like a really good job, you know, like being basically like the head mechanic at a mechanic shop, making all this money, while at the same time you're sending it back to your country, and then once you feel like you've made enough money, you just dip out and take all your earnings and everything back to your country. Like, dude, that's like basically you stealing money. Like that's exactly why Trump wants to get rid of all these immigrants, because bro, like all that money could have went back into our economy instead of taking it with you back to Honduras. Like what the hell, bro? Like this is good. I wish we had more people like this in our country, you know, that instead of complaining about like all the billion, you know, we would have them, you know, getting money and then putting it back into the economy. So Google and Microsoft have the biggest campus in India outside of the US. Yeah, I would imagine. Exactly. See, this is my point, what I was saying. Like, as soon as all these companies start building, you know, finishing the production and building all their factories and all this stuff, like Apple, I think GMC. Hold on, let's look it up, actually. Let's look up, all, spell companies wrong. All companies... all companies. Whoa. Fuck. All companies heading to India. Technology, electronics, oil and gas, retail. Yeah, here we go. Retail, Amazon, Apple, IKEA. Like, dude, as soon as these things, what companies are moving to India? Yeah, Chevron. Yeah, exactly. Chevy, dude. Oh my God. As soon as Chevy, all these companies start opening, factories and warehouses and all that stuff in India, it's game over. It's game over for places like India. And, for places like freaking Pakistan, China, Russia, dude. They're gonna start seeing India as a threat. Why do you think they've been fucking with India so much and trying to, keep them down basically? And keep
Kunal
messing
Bahl
with them
have
beyond the shadows. Like, dude, China has literally been tied to some of these terrorist organizations and like have been caught funding them and like basically like inciting them to fuck with India because they know that if they let India, continue building and building and building, it's game over, dude. It's game over. And especially since I'm pretty sure the US and India are allies. Like, wait, hold on, I'm not sure. Alright, India, US allies. Well, not formally military. I need to have a strong, growing strategic partnership. Yeah, dude. Like, as soon as all these companies open, this partnership is gonna turn into like an ally. Like, I already guarantee it. That's they're gonna turn into an ally. And having an ally like India and vice versa, India having an ally like the United States, whew, it's game over for those other countries in the region, dude. Like, as soon as like Pakistan and all these other countries surrounding them start realizing that India and the United States are like, friends, I guess you could say, it's fucked. It's clipped. They're gonna stop. Watch how fast they stop fucking with India. Just watch how fast they stop fucking with India. Watch how it'll turn to crickets.
invested in
I'm
over
telling you, dude. Like, right now, people are fucking with India because they're kind of just like in limbo. Like, they're kind of just figuring out what's good for them. What to do, and the United States is kind of like, I wouldn't say we don't care about India right now, but it's kind of like we have more pressing matters in that region, like we gotta deal with fucking Palestine and all that bullshit, and then fucking the recent thing with Pakistan and Iran, or was it Pakistan? No, I think it was Iran. Yeah, the recent thing with Iran. Like, dude, we're like preoccupied right now. But that's the thing too. Like, I guarantee you, like, if India did reach out, that response wouldn't go unanswered. Like, we would definitely answer that call, and vice versa with
200
India
startup.
too.
And these angel investors are very accessible
Yeah, a Biden government was really anti-India. Yeah, I fucking wonder why. Because they were like essentially basically pro fucking like communists and terrorists and all this nonsense. Why do you think all this shit slid under their government? Like, why do you think there was so much crime rampant throughout their government? Like, what?
to young founders
What?
when compared to big VC firms. And finally, the
Sleepy
government has
freaking
played a
Joe,
big
dude.
role in promoting startup funding
Sleepy
as well.
flippin'
In
Joe.
2016, the Indian government for the first time launched a dedicated fund to invest in startups. It was called Fund of Funds for Startups, and its size was 10,000 crore rupees. Pretty big step for a country like India, where earlier governments had played a very small role in promoting startups. And this brings me to the next point, which is increased government support for startups. See, India has historically been a socialist country. So if someone has made a lot of money through starting a business, the society did not like them too much. And this is something that has changed in the last 10 years. It started when Prime Minister
Yeah.
Narendra Modi talked about promoting startups in his Independence Day speech in 2015. Then in 2016, the government
okay.
formally launched the Startup India scheme. And under this, introduced many
Startup
benefits for the
India
startups,
scheme.
things
Why
like
do they
tax
keep calling
holidays,
schemes?
simplification
It
of
makes it sound
laws, and
dishonorable.
fast tracking of patent applications. And then the government launched the Fund of Funds for Startups worth 10,000 crore rupees, where the government partnered with the private sector to fund good startups. And this is something very common in China, by the way, where all the major companies that you see have received government support in some way or the other.
DeepSeek.
Today in India too, the government has grants and dedicated funds in almost all the major sectors. I'm sure you would have heard of Agnikul
That's
Cosmos,
good.
which developed India's first private satellite launch vehicle. And they got early funding support
Nice.
from
Right,
IDEX,
alright.
which is Innovations for
Private
Defense
satellite
Excellence,
stuff.
and that comes under the Ministry of Defense. Similar to this, a huge number of Indian startups have received support from the government in the form of grants and funding. The best example of this government-private
Alright,
collaboration
alright.
is our space sector, which has done phenomenally well in the
Oh,
last
of
10 years.
course.
See, 10 years ago, ISRO was just a regular space agency with some achievements but nothing spectacular.
This is good too, because this basically qualifies them to be like, like another country that's so technologically advanced that they can become space barren. Just like the United States, China, Russia. Yeah, I'm pretty sure China's space barren. Yeah, that's good, dude. That's actually really good. Like that shows that they're not only civil, like this might sound like mean, but that shows that they're basically civil enough to care about scientific things like this, and that they care about like evolution, as in evolving their own country and like making people smarter, better, discovering new things, potentially having breakthroughs in science too, because who knows, maybe the Indians will be the ones who break through quantum physics and find out a way through get through the fourth dimension or something, go faster than the speed of light, smack two of the god particles in like a particle accelerator or something crazy, they could be the next contender. Who knows?
The world first
India was the first country to land on the South Pole of the moon in 2023. Yeah. What is that, like the dark side of the moon? Is that the South Pole? Hold on, let me look this up. Said, no, the South Pole of the moon is not the same as the dark side. While the term dark side is often used to the far side of the moon, which is the hemisphere faces away from Earth. It is similar because the moon rotates. All sides of the sun and the South Pole. There is lost about 2 weeks. Wait, what? The South Pole, like other areas, experiences a lunar day and night, each lasting about 2 weeks. What the fuck? Said yes. Damn. So 1 day there is 2 weeks is crazy. So the far side, not the dark side. The far side is the hemisphere we don't see, but it does receive sunlight. The term dark side is often used because unknown for a long time, but it's not permanently dark. South Pole has permanently shadowed craters. Oh shit. But some are due to the angle of the sun and the crater, not because it's the far side. The moon has a lunar day and night, each lasting about 2 weeks. That's freaking crazy. Hold on. The pole is illuminated by the including the South Pole. Dude, that's actually crazy. Russia failed, and 2 months later, India successfully. That's what I'm saying. This is exactly what I'm saying. Russia, if they, stop dragging ass, which they stopped dragging ass, which is good. If they continue to not drag ass, whew, dude, you guys are gonna be there, like right under us, right under the U.S., probably beating China and Russia. No permanent dark side. Yeah. Damn, that's crazy. Guess you learn something every day, huh?
noticed ISRO when in 2014 our Mars orbiter mission Mangalyaan successfully reached the orbit of Mars. India was the first Asian country to achieve this.
Mars? Wait, the orbit of Mars? Have humans been to Mars? No, humans have not been to Mars. Multiple robotic missions for the planet. No human has ever traveled to Mars. NASA and other specialists have plans for future crewed missions, but several technology and logistic. NASA is actively developing technologies and plans for future crewed missions to Mars, aimed at sending astronauts to the red planet as early as 2030. Dude, that's in 5 years. Holy crap! Challenges. Several challenges need to be overcome before human mission to Mars is feasible. Long-term duration space flight. The journey to Mars took several months, requiring solutions for radiation exposure. Damn. Long-term health effects on astronauts and providing sufficient supplies for the crew. Landing on Mars. Safely landing a crew spacecraft on Martian surface presents significant engineering challenges. Living on Mars. Establishing a sustainable base on Mars with life support systems, food production, resources utilization is a major hurdle. Returning to Earth. Returning the crew safely to Earth after a long mission on Mars requires advanced propulsion. And yeah, dude, we gotta be on some like Halo timeline to go to basically Mars. Like our spacecraft, that's the thing. Like it's easy to get there, just slingshot somebody up there, enough propulsion. But the thing is having a propulsion system that can survive the heat, all that, and then having enough fuel to make it back also. And that's the thing. Like it has to basically be like sturdy as fuck. Cause if one thing goes wrong, completely. You're all gone, dude. That's oh man, dude. Like being an astronaut probably has to be the single-handedly
this
most
and the fourth
dangerous
in the
job
world.
on the planet.
But this was not the main achievement.
So India was the first Asian country. Yeah, that's right. I always forget India is Asian. India was the first Asian country to reach Mars before China, and the only country to achieve it on first try. That's actually
It
crazy.
was the
That's pretty
efficiency with which
impressive.
ISRO completed this mission.
That's
The entire
insane.
Mangalyaan mission was completed end to end in just 18 months, and its cost was only $74 million. Compared
That's
to this,
actually
NASA's
freaking
Maven
crazy,
mission,
dude.
which also went to Mars, took 5 years to complete and cost $651 million. In fact, it took more money to make the movie Martian than it cost India to send a mission to Mars. Then, India also beat other countries when it came to exploring the moon. In 2023, India became the first nation in the world to land a spacecraft near the south pole of the moon, a region believed to have water. And these two missions have established that ISRO is in the top league when it comes to space. And now, ISRO is helping a range of young startups to solve the most challenging
Oh,
space
shit.
problems.
So you
For
missed
the
the
next
crazy
decade,
part we want. Wait, did I really?
these two missions,
But I.
entire Mangalyaan, this was not the India was the
Oh shit! Is that Goose, yo? What's going on,
first
Goose?
Asian country to achieve this and the fourth in the world. But this was not the main achievement,
shit.
it was the efficiency with which ISRO completed this mission. The entire Mangalyaan mission was completed end to end in just 18 months, and its cost was only $74 million. Compared to this, NASA's Maven mission, which also went to Mars, took 5 years to complete and cost $650
What are we watching? These guys in the chat wanted me to react to this.
$51 million.
Stuff. We're watching,
In fact,
like,
it took more
basically
money to
the biggest comeback of the century.
make the
for
movie
India.
Martian than it cost India to send a mission to Mars. Then, India also beat other countries when it came to exploring the moon. In 2023, India became the first nation in the world to land a spacecraft near the south pole of the moon, a region believed to have water. And
Oh,
these two missions have
Yeah, this is what you were talking about, right? The South Pole. That's insane, dude. No way. You guys are actually out there doing this
established
stuff,
that
dude. That's
ISRO is in the top
crazy.
league when it comes to space. And now ISRO is helping a range of young
Awesome,
startups to
man.
solve the most challenging space problems.
Yeah, South
For
Pole
the
is
next decade,
crazy,
India
dude.
has some ambitious plans for its space program. In 2026, we plan to launch Gaganyaan, which is India's first manned space mission. Next, ISRO wants to set up our own space station by 2035, which will make us the fourth country
Dude,
after US, Russia, and
Israel
China
is-
to have our own
Wait,
space station.
Did he say Israel? Wait, did he say Israel? Are they working with Israel? Wait, hold on.
India's first manned space mission. Next, ISRO wants to
This
set
is
up our
sick.
own space station
Yeah.
by 2035, which will make us the fourth
Israel. Or hold on. Are India and Israel allies? What the fuck? Are India and Israel not available? Why? Why is there no? Maintain a close and relationship underpinned by yeah, so they are allies. Okay, that's good. That's good. Dude, Israel is out there? Is Israel equals India. Oh, not Israel. Israel. Oh, okay. So I misheard. Okay. Indian Space Research Organization. Yo, that's actually a sick name. The Israel.
fourth country
That's
after
sick.
US, Russia, and China to have our own space station. And finally, India is aiming to send humans to the moon
Yeah,
by
that's actually
2040,
crazy.
joining the
That
US
sounds
and China
cool.
in this race. For me, India's growth is best symbolized by
I was about to say,
ISRO.
what the fuck
And
does
that's why I like
Israel
to
care
have
about
this
going to
picture always in
space?
the background. It is an organization that began with borrowed technology and scrap
Yeah, I already knew that. I knew that they had like some defense partnership, but I didn't know that they also. Now I'm curious. Wait. Do India and Israel have a space program together? I want to see this. In 2002, India and Israel signed a cooperative agreement promoting space collaboration. Ooh, so I was right. What the fuck? India manufactures Israel's drones. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude. Those people just acting like Israel, fucking hates basically the entirety of the Middle East, all this nonsense. Like, dude, what are you talking about? Hey, India and Japan also crowding for the moon. Dude, that is actually badass. Joint launches. Dude, this is sick. What the hell? So they're in.
He launches and has now become a global space power,
So they're,
sending
like,
missions to
in
the moon,
in
Mars, and
collaboration.
beyond.
That's
So
cool.
these were some of the
We should do
major wins
more,
India has had in
I
the
feel like the United States. I feel like the United States should probably do more collaborations with you guys, like India, and everything. Like, you know, join that trio: India, Israel, Japan. Make it like a quadruple thing. So now there are million Jews that live in India. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I already knew that. That's because India's chill. Like, if I had to move to the Middle East, I would choose India to live, honestly. Definitely, like, India or... Yeah, definitely India or India. I would say freaking Israel, but I'm not trying to get, you know, bombed by people who... basically everybody who fucking hates them. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I know Israel is, like, nice and all, but I'm still not trying to, you know, be walking down Tel Aviv or something, and then I hear... on some Star Wars shit, you know, because freaking Hamas decided it was a good idea to start blasting rockets over. I'm good. It said it is below China. Yeah, I mean, I would
past 10
assume
years.
so.
Something most of us wouldn't have guessed would happen. Now, of course, we still have a long way to go. As Mr. Piyush Goyal had said, we have to compete on the world scale. Whether it's in making semiconductor chips
just
or making
saying,
our own
like,
foundational AI
I'm
models.
not
But we should
trying to-
remember how far we have come
I'm
from the
good.
time we started. The biggest thing, in my opinion, that has
But I
happened
like
in the
living
last
in
10
America.
years is that 1 billion Indians have now become a part of this growth journey. As we discussed earlier, most people did not have access to internet, electricity, or bank accounts. And in a way, they did not have any voice. But they have a voice now, and in the next 10 years,
Now they
a big chunk of
now they have a
economic
voice.
output will come from these people. In the end, I want to hear from you. What are some of the biggest positive changes that you have seen in India in the last 10 years? Let me know in the comments.
Dude, that was actually great. That was actually a great video. Holy crap. Go like and subscribe to this guy. You know, make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe. I don't want to make this video too long, so we're actually gonna, you know, stay tuned for part 2, which is gonna be, I guess, the Pakistan stuff, which we're gonna do right now. So for all you guys on Twitch, stay tuned. For everybody on YouTube, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Like I said, make sure to leave a like and comment and subscribe on Backstage Millionaires. And then when you're done, come back to my stream or the YouTube channel. Make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Check out the Kick, Twitch, streaming, you know, all the time. I'll see you guys in